Hey chess masters, Coach Sipho here, and today we are going to learn how to checkmate with a bishop, knight, and the king against the opponent's lonely king. Now someone might say, why should I learn how to checkmate with a bishop and the knight from a video or from studying the chess book? Because I believe I can be able to figure this out by myself when I'm playing a real game. That is very true. Any strong chess player can be able to ultimately figure this out by themselves when they are playing a real game. But there are two challenges. Number one, normally when we get to the end game, we're already low on our clocks. That means we are left with few minutes. So you might not have enough time to checkmate your opponent, especially if you don't know the patterns. You are trying to figure it for the first time on the chessboard. That is the first challenge. Challenge number two, you don't have unlimited number of moves. There is a 50 move rule which states that if you are unable to checkmate your opponent within 50 moves, provided that there is no pawn move or there is no capture, then the game will be declared as a draw. Meaning they will assume that you don't know what you are doing. So those are the two main challenges. Hence, that is why we've seen very strong grandmasters failing to checkmate with a bishop and the knight in a real game because of this 50 move rule, and also because by the time when they get to the end game, they were already low on the clock. Those are the two reasons. That is why by the time you see this position in a real game, you should already know what are the plans. Okay, before we go from a random position and show you how we create this checkmate, I think I should state it while we still have this position. You can only checkmate the opponent on the corner that is the same color as the bishop. This is the light squared bishop, meaning the bishop is moving on the light squares. So you can only checkmate on there. You can only force the checkmate on the light corner square. That corner or that corner. Yes, you can also checkmate the opponent somewhere this side sometimes, but you cannot force them. If you play with someone who knows how to defend or who know that they should move towards the center or to the wrong corner, you cannot really force that checkmate. So let's forget the things we cannot entirely control. Let's focus on the things that we can force, things that are dependent on us. So you can only force the checkmate on these two corners. Now, there are 3 steps in this checkmate. 1 is to build the net. 2 is to push the opponent to the edge of the board. 3 is to push the opponent to the right corner, that corner or this corner. Now that we've seen the final position, how it will look like, we know the 3 steps: build the net, push the opponent to the edge of the board, 3, push them to the right corner. Now let's go to any random position so that I can show you the how, because it is not enough to know the theory, but you should also know the how, like how you actually do it. Okay, this is the most random position I can think of. Of course, it would be unfair for black if we let him close to that corner. A stronger opponent will try to remain in the center because they know you cannot checkmate in the center of the board. It is impossible. So a strong opponent will try to remain in the center as much as possible. Now, how do you build the net, which is step 1? The net, this is the center of the board. We all know what is the center of the board. You need to place your bishop in the center. It could be here or here. You need to occupy the center. And since the bishop is controlling the light squares and The knight then should be placed on the light square so that it will be able to control the dark squares. A knight can only control the dark squares if it is placed on a light square. So this is how we build the net. And after building the net, you can already see that the opponent cannot approach your pieces. Your pieces are protecting each other. The knight is preventing the opponent's king from approaching the bishop. And the bishop is protecting the knight. And when you have your minor pieces placed like this, they are forming a net. As you can see now that the opponent's king cannot penetrate, the opponent's king cannot get inside here, cannot cross these red squares. Now you will also use your king to further push your opponent to the edge of the board, that side or that side. Pay attention to the role one more time that is played by your minor pieces. They are forming a net or a wall. The opponent's king cannot penetrate here. Now the king will push the king to the edge of the board. So you already know what is step one, how to form the net. Now let's form it from a random position. I already told you that the opponent will try by all means to remain in the center. So let's try to form that position now. So you see, you can even pre-move these moves. You play there. Of course, you are preparing to get inside the center. Let's say the opponent will go there. Of course, now you cannot get there. So we also know that the knight needs to get here. But if we move the knight, we allow the opponent to come. So let's bring the king first. The opponent will back off. The opponent will try by all means to remain closer to the center. Now that the king is protecting that square, the bishop can go. Now the bishop is fine. We need to relocate our knight. We are trying to move our knight here. Now we've achieved the first step, which is the net. And the opponent's king cannot get inside this L. This is like a wall. Okay, let's see what will the opponent do. The opponent, okay, let's assume we are playing against a stronger opponent. The stronger opponent won't go towards the light square. It makes things easier for us, and we'll be able to checkmate the opponent within few moves if they go there. So let's assume that they will go to the wrong corner, the dark square. Remember, your minor pieces are already forming a wall. So now what you're gonna do, you are trying to push the opponent to the edge of the board. If it is the opponent's turn, maybe they will come here. Just go there. Of course, they cannot go there now because there is a bishop. And our bishop, our minor pieces are still forming a net. So even though our king is still far, the opponent's king cannot get inside this. Okay. By the way, if they go that side, things will be easy for us because they are approaching the light corner square. So let's say they will go to that wrong corner. Now, the next step is to get them out of that corner. Of course, the light squared bishop cannot get them out of that corner. Only the knight can do that. So now we can bring our knight. Check. Since the knight is guarding that square, the opponent's king can only go there. And once it goes there, the opponent's bishop will go there to make sure this square is controlled by the knight. This square is controlled by the bishop, so the king can only go that side. So if it is black's turn, they will go there and we will go there. But someone might ask, what if it is our turn in this position? Now, all strong players know about the waiting move. So we know the opponent cannot go that side. We want them to go there. They can only go there. If it is our turn, we just do a waiting move. A waiting move is a move that is not changing anything. That means as long as you remain on this diagonal, you can go there even one square or all the way. It doesn't matter. You are still controlling this diagonal. Once they go there now, only then your bishop goes there, controlling that square. We've achieved step 1, which is to push the opponent to the edge of the board. Step 2, we are pushing the opponent. In fact, when we played the knight here, we already initiated step 2. That was step 2. The knight here and the bishop here, it is step 2 because now we're pushing the opponent that side. So now the last move was to play the bishop here, pushing the opponent that side, which is step 2. The opponent cannot come here because of our king, so the opponent can only go there. Now, how do you move your pieces to make sure the opponent does not escape from the edge of the board? This is one thing you should remember. Now, your knight, once the opponent's king is on the edge of the board and you've achieved this position, the knight will keep on moving on the 7th and the 5th rank. Okay? It will move on the 7th and the 5th rank. So it will be like a V. You are doing a V or a W. You see? So your knight from 7th to 5th rank. From 5th to 7th rank. From 7th to 5th rank. It doesn't move on the 6th rank. So it keeps on changing on the 7th rank and also on the 5th rank. So the opponent's last move, remember the bishop blocked this square, so the opponent went there. The knight is on the 7th rank. We go to the 5th rank to guard that square. Now the opponent has 2 moves. The opponent can either go back or they could go that direction. Let's quickly explore this variation. It is easy. If they try to go back, remember you move from the 7th to the 5th and from the 5th to the 7th. You go to the 7th, it's a check. They cannot go that side thanks to our bishop. So they can only go that side. Once they go that side, okay, we'll come back and show you what happens. Remember, it was this position and the opponent chose to go back. They also had this option. So we're analyzing this position if they go back. And we'll come back and analyze what you should do if they go forward. So if they go back, the knight was from 7th to 5th. You just move your knight back to the 7th. Check. King cannot go there. It can only go that direction. Once they go there, you simply have to move your king along and protect your knight. The king cannot go there thanks to the knight. So it will go there. Now you need to make sure the opponent's king won't escape there. So bring your king. If they go back, now the knight is controlling that square and the king is controlling this square. They are trying to escape. You just bring your bishop. Check. Now if they go there, remember you only move the knight to the 5th rank if the opponent's king has already moved there. Let's say the opponent's king is here. We move our knight to the 5th rank to prevent it from escaping there. So in this case, you are just going to do a waiting move. Make sure the opponent won't go back if it is your turn. Just do a waiting move on this diagonal. Once the opponent's king is there, they are trying to go out. Now you bring your knight to the 5th rank. Remember again, once they go back, you just move your knight to the 7th rank and pull them back. They cannot go there thanks to our bishop. So once they go back, we go to the 7th rank to check them and force them to come back. But what if they go there? If they go there, you can just bring your king. If they go there, we see they are trying to go back. So if they are trying to go back, you can just go to the 7th rank. And I'm sure now you notice that we are only moving the knight on the 7th and also on the 5th. By moving the knight to the 7th, we prevent the king from going that direction. So the king can only go there. Once they go there, the bishop is always closing these holes so that the opponent's king cannot go back. So you close that hole. The opponent's king goes there. Now you can come back to the 5th rank again to prevent the king from escaping. Once they go there or there, doesn't matter, your king goes there. And now you can already see that the opponent is left with these 2 squares now. The opponent is left with these 2 squares. And once the opponent is left with the 2 squares, okay, it is black's turn. It doesn't matter whose turn is it. Once the opponent is left with the 2 squares, you want your knight there on the 6th rank again. On the 6th rank. This is the only time where the knight is going to the 6th rank. Because remember, the opponent is left with these 2 squares. You want to take away that one. And you don't want to go back to take that square because it would block the bishop. So the only way to take that square is to come here now. We only go to the 6th rank with our knight at the end, when the knight is already limited to 2 squares. So knight there. Now someone might ask, what if it was the opponent's turn? If it is your turn, you check. If it was the opponent's turn, they go there. Of course, now you wouldn't go there because it would be a stalemate. This is just logic. So you wouldn't go there. You wait for the opponent to go there and you want to go there with a check. So if it is your turn, you would go there with a check. The bishop is guarding that square. You want to go there with a check. But what if it is the opponent's turn and they go there? Now you don't go there. It will be a stalemate. What do? Just do a waiting move with your bishop while you are guarding there. Waiting move. It doesn't matter where you go as long as you remain on this diagonal. So we just did a waiting move. Once the opponent goes there, now we go to the knight's final square with a check. The opponent is left with 1 square now. And it is a checkmate. Okay, now let's go back to the position where the opponent had, I think our king was here, our knight was on the, okay, it was like this. Yeah, it was like this. So our opponent, remember, our last move was to prevent the opponent from going back. The opponent went there and we played our knight from the 7th to the 5th rank to prevent the knight from escaping. And we already know what to do if the opponent tries to go back. We always pull them back with a check. We've already analyzed that. But now, what if they go forward instead of going back? If they go forward, you just bring your king. And now it seems like the opponent's king is escaping. But they won't escape, don't worry. The opponent goes there now. Once they go there, let's see where can they escape. The knight is controlling this square. So the opponent is trying to escape there. The king is controlling this square. We don't mind if they go to the edge. So the knight can only escape on this square. So what should we do? we need to guard that square because that square is too far from the king. So we move our knight from the 5th rank to the 7th rank in order to guard that square. Now someone might say, but the knight was guarding that light square. When it goes there, it no longer guards the square. Don't worry about that light square. It is not too far from the king. So it seems now that the opponent's king is going back to the center. But pay attention that the king is guarding this light square. The knight is guarding those 2 dark squares. The king is guarding this square. So even though the opponent's king is trying to go back to the center, it can only go back via that square. That's where our bishop will come back and guard that diagonal. So you bring your bishop, you don't make a check. I know most players like making a check, and there's even a code that says once a partner sees a check, they make a check. So I trust you, chess masters, you are not patzers. So you don't make that check because the opponent will escape now and go back to the center. So you don't make that check. The king is guarding that square. So you don't have to make a check. Guard this diagonal instead so that the opponent's king cannot escape. Pass the check and go here. Now, where can the opponent's king escape? They cannot go to the light squares. They cannot go to the dark squares thanks to our knight. They cannot move closer to our king. So the knight is controlling the dark squares. The bishop is controlling the light squares. So the opponent's king is forced to go back. Once they go back, pay attention, they cannot come to this diagonal now. So you don't need your bishop on this diagonal anymore. Your bishop can go to that diagonal now. Now the king cannot touch the light squares thanks to the bishop. The king cannot go to the dark squares thanks to the knight. If the opponent's king goes there, of course it cannot go there thanks to the knight. It can only go to these 2 squares. It doesn't matter where it goes, this square or this square. You just move your king here. When they try to go back and escape, you just bring your bishop back. The knight is guarding the dark square. So they are forced to go back. Now just do a waiting move. Remember, you don't move your knight to the 5th rank until the opponent's king is 1 square ahead towards the corner. So just do a waiting move. Keep on guarding that square. Once the opponent's king advances, now you go to the 5th rank to guard that square. You already know if they go back, I've already shown the variation. Once they go back, you pull them back with the knight. So what if they go there? Now you can bring your king here. What if they go there? Okay, now they're trying to go to their dark square. You can play your knight here. They cannot go there. They are forced to go there. Once they do that, you make sure now they won't go to the light square. You come here with your bishop. And now they might try to go there. Okay, you need to guard that square. You can just go there. When they go there, once they go there, you check them again. You make sure that they won't go back to the center. So check them. The knight is guarding the dark square. King goes there. Now pay attention, the opponent's king, we get to that position where the opponent's king is left with 2 squares again. This square and this square. And once that happens, you already know what happens, guys. You want to go to the 6th rank with the knight. So the opponent's king is left with these 2 squares. The bishop is guarding that square. So now you can prepare the knight's journey to that square. Even if it was the opponent's turn, it doesn't matter whose turn is it. If it is your turn, you are just preparing to go there. to go there. Even if it is opponent's turn, they are limited to these 2 squares. Let's say it is the opponent's turn. Just go there. They go there. You always want to go there with a check. You always want to go there with a check. So in this position, let's say it was our turn. We go there. They go there. You don't want to go there because it will be a stalemate. Remember, you go there with a check. So we want to go there, but it won't be a check. So what do? You want to go there, but with a check. So it won't be a check. You just do a waiting move. Once they go there, you go to the knight's final square with a check. This is the only square. And checkmate. Congratulations, chess masters. Now you finally master how to checkmate with the bishop, knight, and the king. Congratulations. And thank you for joining us on this week's session. This channel is committed to uploading at least 1 video per week. And now we're even considering to uploading maybe 3 videos per week. Because more students have been requesting more content. Thank you. And before I sign off, I want to express my gratitude again. We finally got to 200 subscribers, and it wouldn't be possible without your support. If you haven't subscribed, please help our channel grow by smashing that subscribe button. Click the bell so that you will be notified every time we upload a video. Until next time, peace.